Good morning and welcome to this weekend's Brunch Club, where we toast to all the amazing, diversely faceted women out there, filling your cup with inspiration and encouragement as our guests share their personal stories, experiences with careers, family, parenting, equality, mentoring, and advice. The Brunch Club is where we raise a glass and champion female talent and leadership everywhere, and where sparkling is always encouraged. Now, here is your host, Rachel Swoboda.
Hi, I am Rachel Swoboda. Welcome to this week's edition of the Brunch Club. And today I'm really excited about our guest because not only is her hair fabulous and her nails are fabulous, okay, and we're drinking champagne, which is also fabulous. But I want to sit back. I want you to introduce yourself to the crowd, to the community, tell them who you are, what you do, and then I'm going to ask her all kinds of very personal questions that you guys are going to want to know.
Yes. So my name is Carissa Johnson. I am an online business coach for online coaches. I teach them spirituality, mindset, and business strategy in order to scale to six figures. I've been a coach now for 5.5 years. Started as a life coach and, I was actually a therapist, so I'm a licensed professional therapist. Started in community mental health and worked my way up to owning my own business. And now I help women and support online healers to do the same.
Okay, Carissa, you're young, you're beautiful, you are creative, you're all these amazing things. You became a therapist. Mm-hmm. Why did you become a therapist?
Yes. I feel like there's people sort of think that...
Not that you can't be both, but I just want to know.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people get into the healing field because they themselves have endured a lot of pain, frustration. And that was very true for me. My whole life, I grew up with anxiety and depression. And so getting diagnosed at a very young age, I didn't really understand.
With anxiety and depression?
Yeah, at 6 years old.
6?
6 years old.
You were 6 and depressed?
Yes.
What did that look like for a 6-year-old?
It manifested in more anxiety. I obsessed about my dad dying. And my parents were very concerned and like, how does a 6-year-old obsess about something they know very little about? Mm-hmm. And so I went to practitioner after practitioner and they're like, your daughter has anxiety. And they were like, what do we do with this?
Okay.
And mental health runs in my family and, it is genetic. And so, or so some people believe. And so, they started to put these pieces together. And then growing up, I just didn't really understand myself because lacking just emotional intelligence and how to really manage having anxiety at such a young age and really never feeling like I fit in.
Okay.
And
Where did you grow up, by the way?
I grew up in Chicago.
Okay.
So grew up out there. I actually just moved to California.
Earlier.
January this year.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's exciting. And so growing up, I just never really feel like I fit in, and having a single parent, my parents were separated. There was a lot of, disconnect from relationships and lots of things. And so at a very young age, I got into drugs and alcohol and like 13 years old,
okay.
Just started.
Like many of us do.
Yeah, but mine was very heavy. At 13 years old, I mean, like people are like outside playing. I was like doing drugs, which wasn't great.
When you say doing drugs at 13,
mm-hmm.
like I remember I was 13 and a girlfriend and I went in to the fridge and got out a Zima.
Oh, what?
Okay. Remember Zima?
No.
Okay. Zima was like Smirnoff Ice, but like,
okay,
something
it's
like
coming back.
Like a Smirnoff, okay? And
okay.
then it was a twist off top.
Yeah.
And then we drank half, and then we put water in the other half, and rested the lid on top, like as if our parents wouldn't notice.
That's really smart.
Except for it's a twist off. I mean, come on, like they're gonna know.
Yeah.
Anyways,
eventually.
All right. So you were doing more than that.
I was doing significantly more than that.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, yes. So I was dabbling in drugs and partying significantly.
In Chicago.
Okay. I actually grew up in Schaumburg, which is the suburb that I grew up in. And doing a lot of those things. I was dating a drug dealer at the age of 13. He was 18 years old. And so I've always gravitated more towards people who are a little bit older than I am. And so I was really gravitating towards people just to I was trying to numb my pain. I was trying to find my people. I was just trying to find myself and just found it in all the wrong places. And so little by little, I just started to go down deeper into depression and anxiety. And I got kicked out of school. I went to, an alternative school because of bad behavior. Like I was the only girl. All sorts of things happened in my life that just led me to like a significant rock bottom. I mean, I had an arrest record the size of my arm at the age of, 15 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I know.
Okay.
I know. That's why I have green hair. I mean, like parts of this rebellious type of person come out in me a little bit.
Okay, but there was a woman on the show a while ago, and she, her father got her addicted onto like cocaine and heroin when she was like not even a teenager yet.
Yeah.
And you look at her and you wouldn't have ever known.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting that you said like the hair.
Yeah.
Like you're bringing it with you.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It. I carry that rebellious sort of, I don't give a, shit about what anybody says or does attitude with me. That's why my whole brand is built off that. And we'll kind of get to that in a minute. But so rock bottom, my mom relocated us to a new area and I started to do the same stuff. I wasn't going to school. If I was going to school, I was going to school high, like all sorts of things. And then it wasn't until I had a teacher who like pulled me aside.
Really?
And it was a teacher who is a male figure. And I think I was really craving that like male influence in my life.
Fair enough.
And he was like, I see through your BS. I see through your crap. I see through who you really are. And just started to mentor me a little bit. Okay. I was being like, stay after school with me. Let me support you. And just like challenged me. Like
in a healthy way.
In a very healthy and respectful, appropriate way.
Got it.
Makes
just double
difference.
checking.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified. So he would ask me, he would just like challenge me, and he just like saw me for who I was and saw me and my potential. Okay. And so much of just having somebody else believe in me was exactly what I was really yearning for. Somebody outside of my family. Yeah. And little by little, I started to make changes. Like he challenged me to be a part of the newspaper like club and challenged me to do certain things in class and would like call on me intentionally, like make me really uncomfortable in order to like really see my potential. And little by little, I started to believe in myself. But it wasn't until he asked me to like apply for college. And I'm a first generation college student in general, and not to mention I now have a master's degree. First generation, I was like, didn't think that was even possible for me. And so he would like challenge me. And he was the only reason I actually got into school. I only got into one school.
Which one?
Eastern Illinois University.
Okay.
And he was the reason I got in.
You only need one.
You really only need one. And that was, I had to put all my eggs in one basket, and I had one egg and it was in one basket. So that was it. So I ended up getting into college, and then financially trying to figure that out was a whole nother, situation, trying to figure out means that I didn't really have the funds for. And just little by little, like these decisions of like applying to like getting in the newspaper club, and then also, starting a lacrosse team at my school, and then getting into college, like all these little things started to add up, and I was like, wow, I am capable of so much more than I'm doing right now. Mm-hmm. And I got into college, and then I started to reframe a lot of who I was. I was like, nobody knows me. They don't know I had this past. They don't know about any of this stuff. I can be whoever I want.
Yes.
And so I started to do that. I started to just act as if I was like this put together person who like had a great background. And then I became that. And then fantastic? It's just totally manifesting and quantum physics and all the things that I didn't realize I was doing into one. And so got into college, realized that I really had a gift for helping people. And selfishly, I wanted to continue to do my own internal work and heal my anxiety. And so just fell in love with psychology and the brain and body connection and just helping people. And so decided to get my bachelor's degree in that. Realized you can't do much with a bachelor's degree in psychology. So when I got my master's degree, got a ton of accolades, and I was on the dean's list. I was an honor society. I was a president of that, in the sorority. All these things just started to.
What's sorority, by the way?
Alpha Gamma Delta.
Okay, just checking. Yeah, for anyone who's out there.
Yeah, Alpha Gamma. And so I did all these things, and then got done with graduate school, and realized that like I love community mental health. I love mental health, but it was very heavy, the work that I was doing. I was working in a very rural area during my internship, and it was just significantly different in terms of the support that I thought I was going to be offering people versus what I was doing. Seeing back-to-back clients all day, I barely had time to work on my own mental health, and just the pay and compensation and all these things really started to add up. Okay. So right when I got done with graduate school after my internship, practiced for a little bit in community mental health, I started a business. I was 25 years old, and I was like...
Okay, so wait a minute. I'm sorry, but like, I want to pause.
Yeah,
for just a hot second, because I love the journey that you're on, and I'm totally with you. But I just want to pause on the fact that it's not like you were looking at your mother or father and being like, well, this is what they did, so this is what I should do.
Yeah,
you basically were self-driven.
Yeah,
and you had to figure it out.
Yeah,
on your own the whole way.
Yeah,
and now all of a sudden, you're getting out of college and you decided to start a business, which is not the easiest thing to do. It's the
polar
ultimate
opposite of actually.
hardest thing to do because it's not like, oh, I'm going to depend on this every 2-week paycheck.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to depend on this health insurance or this 401k from somebody else.
Yeah.
So you're like, no, I've got this. And you somehow had the bravery and the confidence and the mentorship, or maybe just the self-drive. I don't know, like what made you figure out like how that you were going to do this? Because it's scary.
I think what served me in a lot of ways is I'm very naive in some aspects of my life.
And ignorance is bliss.
And ignorance was bliss in this situation, that I really didn't know what I was going to be doing.
I love it.
I had no idea the how. I knew that I did not want to work with somebody else because I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being told what I can wear and what I can't wear, what I can say, what I can't say. And I was just like, I knew what it was like to be in corporate. I mean, I've had a job since I was 14-year-old, multiple jobs. So I like knew what it was like to work for somebody. Didn't want to do that. So I kind of skipped a step. I got done with school and then I was like, I don't want to do this. I was working as a server, bartending and things like that in order to bring in income, and was like, I don't want to be doing any of this. So I realized I still had a lot of healing to do myself. And so I found a woman online who was an online coach. She was actually a shaman and a life coach. And I was like, I just want to see like what this world is all about. I knew that I wanted to do my own healing. And so I met with her and we hit it off instantly. There was actually supposed to be a ton of people at this meetup group, and it only ended up being up her and I. It was like supposed to be 10 or 15 people. And I was like, that was divine.
Meant to be.
Totally meant to be.
Yes.
So we connected and she mentored me, and she was like telling me just about like she saw a lot of potential in me. Like she supported me in building my business and figuring out who I wanted to serve and support. And so I had a lot of guidance, but I've always been internally driven to help others. I'm very selfless in that nature, where 90% of what I do is built on the idea that I can help somebody else with it. Even if it's in like, if I know that something I'm going through is going to be able to help somebody else, I will like go through it that much deeper and that much more so that I know I can serve in a higher capacity. And so
I totally get that from you.
Yeah.
You radiate that energy. I feel it.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Yeah.
You're on a roll.
Yes. So she helped me in a lot of ways do my own healing. We did a lot of EFT, like tapping, and a lot of mindset work, and a lot of just emotional healing of trauma from essentially hit on the head, raising myself emotionally. I love my parents to death, but they didn't have, a lot of the guidance themselves growing up. Yeah. And so they didn't really have that support. So I really had to find it within myself. And I didn't want to repeat those patterns. I knew what it was like to be broke, to be emotional, to not manage my mental health. And I didn't want that for myself or for my children and family in the future. So worked with Cindy, that was her name. And she supported me in mentoring me into building my business. And then I crashed and burned. Because
stop. Don't tell us. Don't tell us.
Okay.
We are going to take a break. Okay. And then you're going to be left on the end of your chair. And then you're going to find out what happened with the crash and burn.
Crashing and burning.
Okay. We'll be right back. Welcome back. All right, we are on the edge of our seats and
we're on the edge.
Da, 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 da.
Crashing and burning.
Yes.
So I worked with Cindy for months. I would probably say 6 months. And I was building momentum. I was working with college students at the time, working on stress management, anxiety reduction, really helping them find their career paths and relationships, all sorts of things, but working with like young adults. I myself was a young adult, just helping other young adults. And I stopped doing my work.
Why?
Stopped Because you get to a point where you're like, oh, I'm good. Like, I've done the work. I was in therapy. I was taking medication. I was doing my things and like all sorts of things. Like, I thought like I did the work. I was good. Like, you feel like when you get to a certain level, you're like, I'm arrived. I've arrived. I'm here. I don't have to do the work anymore.
Yeah. And then it creeps up on you.
Yeah, it crept up. Like, it wasn't even a creep up. It was like
Oh, it was a crash.
It was a total crash.
Oh, got it.
Well, so what I did was, the reason partially why I crashed is I took myself off antidepressant medication because I was like, I want to heal naturally. I want to do this the way that I felt like.
By the way, do you mind if I ask you which one?
Citalopram, Celexa.
Okay.
Yeah.
I only ask because a lot of people that have come on the show, whether we've talked about it openly or not, are on something. Yeah. And it's really funny. I did a survey recently of women that I know. And this is women from the business community, women clients, women from like my children's school, like all different types of women. I filled out this survey. And the percentage of women that are on some type of antidepressant and or cannabis and or alcohol and or drugs was astronomically high. So I'm just curious which one, because I think a lot of women out there are on something.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with being on something
it's
either.
Absolutely fine.
Yeah.
No judgment. It's just like, well, this works for me and this works for me and this is why or this is not why, but people don't talk about it.
No, they don't.
And I feel like it's like when I was the victim of domestic violence, it's the silent crime that nobody talks about. Yeah. Well, how do you get through it? Well, what do you do? Well, what kind of therapist or what kind of legal team? And like no one talked about that either. Right. And then it's just, this is a safe place to talk about those things. Okay, so that's what you were on and you stopped. Cold turkey.
Cold turkey.
Okay, and what happened?
I crashed and burned. I went into a really deep-seated depression for several months. Couldn't get out of bed.
Which is a real thing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like that actually happens.
A lot.
And if that happens to you, like there are resources and
so many
people to help you. And like, I don't know want to call them drugs, but there are like
tools.
Tools. Thank you.
Yeah, there are tools. Medication is just a tool.
It is. All right, keep going.
We have many in the toolbox, right? So, crashed and burned and went into a deep state of depression and was like, I want to go back to therapy. I like quit because at the time I was also doing personal training. In addition to my business, I wasn't full-time with it because it didn't bring in the income, obviously. Well, not obviously, but let's make it obvious.
I mean, let's make it obvious because
I was working multiple jobs.
Goes out on their own to start their own business. It's hard.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So crashed and burned, went into a deep state depression, went to therapy for several months, worked through a lot of those things little by little, like was able to get out of bed and then go to the gym and then hang out with friends and like slowly but surely started to get back to what was normal for me. I'm a very ambitious person. So like for me, any downtime, even now, I'm like freaking out. I'm like slowing down for me is so uncomfortable.
Can you imagine? All right. For yourself, and I'm asking you this because I went through it.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do with alone, down, quiet time? What do you do?
Now or then?
Both.
Then I would numb.
Okay.
I would smoke weed. I would drink. Yes. I would party. I would get into toxic relationships. I would
you fill the void with another feeling.
Oh yeah. Like downtime for me, white space in my calendar, I am not doing great things.
Yeah. What do you do now?
What I do now is I sit with it. It's still very, very, very uncomfortable with me, but I sit with it. I make a choice to consciously feel that it's uncomfortable and still do it. It's like meditation for me is like very uncomfortable, but I still know that if I don't have time for reflection and to sit with myself and my thoughts and my feelings, it's gonna end up manifesting in something else.
So I don't really talk about this.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
But I think it's sort of neat to go there because I used to travel for work when I was working at an ad agency, and I would travel all over the world, and I would go out by design and get like completely out of control, so that when I traveled, I was hungover or sick for a few days because then I was at least operable and functional.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds sort of ass backwards, right? Like you're going on a business trip with clients for multi-millions of dollars and you're like, no. Like I should be at my best. No, because then I'd be making other bad decisions. So I would actually sabotage the front end so that I would work without that.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was probably 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But since then, I've had kids, I've gone through trauma. I have actually had to fight for real time alone.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to the stage in my life where I didn't have any downtime between kids and jobs and family and obligations, I had zero downtime. I used to call it stealing time.
Mm-hmm.
And stealing an hour of time was an hour to go to yoga. It was an hour to go to the gym. It was an hour alone.
Yeah.
Of quiet peace, okay? Recently, and this has been years, okay? So I dug deep into the past for that first part. I recently took a trip alone for 5 days.
Oh, I love that.
By design, alone, because I actually crave it now.
Yeah.
And it is the healthiest, most productive time where I can plan, I can write, I can concept, I didn't drink, I didn't even eat carbs. I mean, I literally,
no carbs?
I didn't even eat carbs.
Girl.
I was like,
how did you function?
I cleansed everything. I did yoga. It was brilliant.
Yes.
But it took me years to get there. I wasn't ready to hear it or feel it for a long time.
Because you feel a lot in that in that space of it's you feel, and that's why a lot of people don't, because
but now,
you feel a lot. But now once you felt it and you know it's okay and it's safe, and there's actually a lot of beauty that comes out of it,
and you own it, It's not anyone else's. And it's funny because the gentleman that I'm dating said, "Oh, would you like me to join you on your trip?"
Yeah.
I said, "Oh my God, thank you so much." No, you're not invited. He was like, "Huh? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You're not invited."
You want alone time?
I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm totally good."
Yeah.
He was like, "I don't understand." I was like, "Well, but that's okay. If
you don't have to.
If you love me, then you'll pick me up from the airport." And he did. Yeah. There was a flower in my car when I arrived.
That's great.
And like, it was very thoughtful and sweet, but it was just like, I needed that.
Yes.
So the time and the space to be you authentically is a different experience.
Yeah. But until you experience it fully, you don't know what you're missing.
Oh, totally.
You don't know that what it's like to be on the other side of mental freedom.
And mental health.
And mental health.
Okay, but you came from a background of like a lot of like tumultuous experiences.
Yeah.
I came from a family that was the 1950s perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's no rhyme or reason to how you get there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my mother and father had been married forever. There was no abuse. There was no anything. It was like all perfect. It was almost like, I'm sorry, but like it was, I love you, Mom and Dad, but like it was so perfect.
Yeah.
It was like you couldn't live up to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to sort of figure out, well, why did every relationship or decision I made not live up to that vision of perfection?
Yeah.
And
that's such a high standard for what
and
it was.
I said it myself because they love me unconditionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was what's it called?
Deprecating?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it took a long time. It doesn't matter what background you come from. It's what you do with it.
Yeah.
And you have pulled yourself up from your bootstraps the whole way.
Yeah.
So now you're in this position. And by the way, for those who are watching, we like met through a gentleman who you were dating, who was a friend of a friend of a friend. And they were like,
so crazy how this happened.
You guys need to meet. And they were so right.
Yeah.
Okay. Because people, I think, recognize like-minded.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh yeah, you guys are gonna be fine." They were so right.
Yes, so good.
Why did you guys break up, by the way? Because he seems like a normal person.
He is normal. He is a normal person.
He's not a bad guy.
Yeah, no, he's actually a great person.
Yeah,
he's a great person,
and that's okay, girls, ladies, to break up.
Yeah, there's a lot of beauty in allowing relationships to come to a close that no longer are serving you.
Absolutely.
And realizing that it doesn't need to be this drawn out dramatic ending, that it can actually be very civil. We're breaking up because our careers are just leading us in different directions, and my vision for what I want in my life and future is not aligning with what his vision is for his future.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
Yes.
And it doesn't need to be this crazy thing. And we live together. So like really trying to navigate that and just being really mature about what that means and how to separate things has been such an experience. It's been hard. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we've spent 2.5 years together, but
what advice do you have to ladies who might be going through that?
To go back to your truth. Because it's easy to look at all the good times and being like, oh, he's great, and this happened, and I remember the time we did this together. Like for me, he and I traveled the world together. I mean, we went all over the place, and I loved all that. But really going back to, okay, what was our daily life like? What were, like, how do I feel when I'm around him? What does our vision look like? And going back to my truth, because a lot of times, myself included, and women in general, sometimes we sacrifice ourselves and our vision to be in a relationship or be around other people or to do other things, and realizing that that's actually not in alignment with who you are. And it was like such a check for me. I had to be like, our vision is not aligned with each other. So I think going back to your truth and what really matters to you, knowing that you won't have to reorganize and totally shift and rearrange your life in order for somebody else to fit into it. The right person will fit in naturally. It'll be like a puzzle piece and it'll make sense. Yeah. When you're trying to force things too much, it's really good to take a closer look at, what am I resisting? What am I not allowing? What am I changing and rearranging, trying to, serve and support this other person as opposed to myself? Put yourself as a priority and know that it's safe to trust yourself and safe to allow you to guide you.
So I know that we're running out of time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to continue to share with you.
Yeah.
But I think those who are watching are going to want to be able to contact you.
Yeah.
Too. How do they find you?
So many things. I'm most active on Instagram. I love Instagram. I'm millennial, so like I'm all over the place, and that's how I run my business. But so my name online is the Sassy Savage. It's the.sassy.savage. That is the name of my company. It's all about women balancing that feminine and that masculine energy in their business. So they can find me on Instagram there. They can find me on my website, which is Carissa Johnson, Johnson with an E, JOHNSEN.com. Facebook, I have a business page, all the things, but I'm most active in myself on Instagram. So you should probably find me there.
Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Follow up with Carissa, and we'll see you at the next episode of the Brunch Club. Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by the Brunch Club. It's been our pleasure to share this time with you. We look forward to bringing you more sparkling inspiration next weekend. If you have feedback, topics, or want to nominate someone to be a guest on the show, please reach out to us at rachel@sundaybrunchagency.com. Cheers!
Hello everyone, my name is Christina Webby. Welcome to my studio. I have created a system for my photo shoots to help you get the best outcome from each experience. The first step is the booking and the consultation, then the preparation steps, then the photo shoot itself, and lastly, we have the reveal and order session. First thing is the consultation, which is one of the pillars for the photo shoot. We'll go over all of the steps needed to accomplish the look that you're going for. We'll discuss the theme and the wardrobe. We'll cover all of that in person if possible, and I'll help you plan your photo shoot and prepare to reveal yourself and look your best for the camera. After the consultation, I'll hand you my welcome guide. This guide is very important to prepare you for the experience. It contains a wardrobe guide, a beauty guide, a product guide, also a written section on what to expect. When you're prepared, you'll feel confident. And that confidence comes from within. But it's a process I can help with. The professional hairstylists and makeup artists at the studio are really good at making you look your best version of yourself. 10 days after the photo shoot, you'll come back to the studio for your reveal session. This session is when you see your printed and matted photos on the wall for the first time. This session is where you decide which photos you love and you want to take home. Feeling confident and beautiful isn't something that pops up in front of the camera. The consultation and the preparation, the wardrobe session and the beauty guide, and everything you do prepares you for the experience. This photo shoot will help you own your femininity because it's a very personal experience and it teaches you about yourself. Photo shoots are very important because it reminds you of how beautiful you are. Your beauty is not in your lips or in your arms, it's in the way you look at people. It's in the way you reveal yourself and allow yourself to be viewed and seen with confidence, with power, and with grace. I am inviting you to a personalized photo shoot at the studio with me. It is so much fun. So let's do this.